Hi everyone. Thanks for joining this session. Hi to the people those who have joined the meeting, and hi there if you have joined from the live stream. So today we have Ishant Bhisht as our facilitator for chemistry. Ritik, please,
Yes, so hi guys. Ishant he did his IGCSE in October, November itself, 24. Great student, lovely and he has great interest in chemistry, therefore taking up today's class. He is hoping to get quite high in his boards. That's why we took a demo and now he is facilitating this class. So Ishant, welcome and thank you so much for doing this class. I hand over the class to you.
Thank you for your introduction, Ritik. Good evening to everyone. Basically, I had given my boards in October, November 2024. So at that time, according to my variant was pretty easy in the sense like we could solve every question. But then the other, I think, variant one was pretty tough. People found out difficulties from the organic chemistry part because mostly in last year papers if you see there's a more of a trend from alkenes and the first rather than they don't ask from the polymerization part, but last time what happened, they had asked from polymerization, few drawing of diagrams and all, and few tough type questions, so people had messed up in that. So I'll just go through the syllabus. Is my screen visible?
yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be talking about extended only, of course. So we have three papers: paper two, paper four, and paper six. Paper two, which is basically 40 marks, paper four, 80 marks, and paper six, which is your 40 marks. So paper two, basically, which is 45 minutes, it covers up 30 percentage of your total, and this is 50% paper four and 20% for paper six. So, my suggestion that for paper two, while you're giving the exam, it tends to always go chronologically. I mean, in the order of your chapters. So, it's better to get 35 plus marks out of 40 to at least A star. You should get for MCQ itself paper, because what happens is most of the people tend to mess up in paper four because you never know how the level for paper four is. So if you try to get paper two, very good marks, so you can compensate with your paper four. So at least you get 35 plus for your paper two, and it's advisable to complete it at least in 35 minutes. But then if we see there are 35 minutes, so at least you have to complete in 35 minutes and then leave that 10 minutes extra for revision. In paper two, I would suggest that read your question twice, because what happened is even in during my prelim, before my prelim, like the normal exams which happen, the class test type, I had messed up because in my paper two, and I had gotten around like 33 or 34. I couldn't reach above 35 plus that time. So that was only the mistake because I did not read the question twice in one or two of them, and I missed out few things that were, and plus during the stoichiometry part, because there were some units or something, so I had messed up in that, and then I had lost marks. So paper two, that's the important thing, that if you don't read your question properly, then you won't be able to solve the questions for paper two. And then of course your textbook, you have to be thorough with that for paper 2, because they can ask in-depth type questions from paper 2, and plus also of your formulas and all for your stoichiometry and all. Paper 4, I would tell you that stoichiometry, which is an important question. Basically in this paper 4, your main aim should be to get full marks for stoichiometry. During my time, stoichiometry part, it was pretty easy. I mean, the basic questions were only asked, not that tough. And then your organic chemistry also you have to tend to get paper 4 full marks. I used to get in my prelim full marks for paper 4 in the organic chemistry because organic chemistry is too basic. If you come to AS and A level, you can see a higher version of that. So tend to get, I mean, full marks for organic chemistry plus your stoichiometry, and then somewhere here and there, maybe in your
tend to
rate
get, I
of
mean,
reaction
full
or
marks for
your
organic chemistry
reversible
plus your
reaction,
stoichiometry.
or
And
maybe
then
while writing or balancing equation, you can get mistake. That's still fine, but then you have to aim at least 72 plus out of 80 for this paper, and approximately you should complete it by 1 hour and 15 minutes for your revision time. I mean, 1 hour is more than enough for paper 4 if you do it, properly, and if you read the questions properly and you try to attempt. Paper 4 will be done in 1 hour itself. Paper 6, what's the main thing is that most of people mess up in the what do you say, the investigation, the last part, which is your basically a 6 marker question which comes on the practical part. So they would give you either from your organic chemistry or your rate of reaction. These two are, and of course your burette and these readings, and that one, those are really basic. That one you have to attempt to get full marks, because if you get full marks in that, then let's say in your, because I'm 100% guaranteeing you 6 marks for investigation question barely anyone get, because the examiner wouldn't tend to give you 6 out of 6 for paper 6. You would either lose 1 or 2 marks, or around 4 or 5 marks only you'll get out of 6 marks for your paper 6, mostly what people. But then if you get your burette and these basic type questions which they ask in the first, if you get those correct, then it becomes simple. And one important thing in paper 6, what people try to mess up is your, that while you're writing a burette or what do you say, your temperature, this one thermometer readings, and this one, they don't try to they just write, let's say it is in the temperature thermometer, it is showing 17 degrees Celsius, so they just write 17 as the answer, and then they leave it, and then they do the same for the other temperature. Now what happens when the exam, the result when you get, you would find that why did you lose marks. So once what happened, even I fought with the teacher that, why didn't I get marks even though 17 is correct, I mean the exact. But then ma'am, the teacher was, you should write 17.0. If you don't write 17.0, Cambridge won't give you 1 mark also for that question. 17.0 or 20.0, that point 0 afterwards, or point, if okay, if it's point 5 or point 7, that's a different thing. But then point 0, if it's like a whole number, you have to write point 0. If you don't write in decimal, then you lose marks on that paper 6. So other than that, now, talking about how questions come is that states of matter, they ask a question nowadays. What happens is that your first page is basically, they ask questions mostly from like, they'll give you like some definitions or something, and then they'll ask you like which process is this. Like let's say they ask you neutralization, acid base test, so you have to write titration or something like that. They will ask you a basic type question. Or sometimes what they do from states of matter only, they'll ask you that they'll draw heating or cooling curve. They'll ask you what is the temperature, this type, and then they will ask which point it is solid, which is liquid, gas. So they ask basic question. And then diffusion, mostly they ask from the molecular mass, like type diffusion questions. Atoms, elements, and compounds and mixture. This one, not that many questions come, but then they will ask you this one. Basically, what they try to do now, they don't ask you. Okay, they ask, but then now what they do is that they brought into ion type. So ion type, they ask you. People get confused in this. Now there's a difference between atom and ion. Let's say we have sodium Na. What people do is they just write 281, which is correct. But then let's say they write Na plus also, they will write 281 only. Either way, it should be 28 because it loses one electron. So that part they try to ask nowadays in the question papers, if you have seen. So that one, it is there, and then isotopes and all definitions and all they ask sometimes. Then ions and ionic bonding. What happens is that in ions and ionic bonds, what happens is that people try to, let's say if it's Cl2, they ask you for drawing a covalent. Okay, this is in the covalent bond part I'm talking. Ionic bond, it is simple. You have to just draw with the shells and then your the square bracket type, and then write the charge. Charge is important. They give like a blank on the top. Charge you have to write there. That queries 1 mark. Plus your drawing and all that carries 2 marks. So around 3 to 4 marker that question comes in the exam. You have to only draw your outer shell, neither all of them. So outer shell electron they ask you, or sometimes they ask you to draw all of them. So and then you have to properly show that your outer shell, for let's say if it's losing Na, let's say it's ionic bond of Na and Cl. So Na will lose electron. So Na plus, so the outer shell for Na will be 8, and then the Cl it gets added once, so it will be 8 there. So 7 because it gains an electron, so it becomes 8 to get the noble gas configuration. So for that also you have to draw dot and cross. Now what people try to mess up is that few in my class I have seen only in covalent bond what they try to, let's say it's Cl2 bond you have to draw, non-metal basically. So halogen. So what it comes under is that for Cl2 what they try to do is they'll try to draw circle only, because they'll think that Cl is the same so why do because NaCl you can draw dot and cross, because of course Na is different, Cl is different. But let's say Cl2 what they try to do dot dot and then dot dot. For that also you lose marks, because it's clearly written dot and cross. So for one Cl there should be dots, the other one it should be chlorine. I mean the this one the cross type, and then you show all the sharing of this one. Then giant covalent structures and all, they are from graphite basically, like pencil leads and all. They have questions, and then they ask you about the strength and all about the graphite and diamond. They ask there are questions like that, and then of course silicon oxide also they ask. So mostly they ask from graphite type question, because it is as a lubricant and a electrode also. Plus, metallic bonding, they might ask or they might not also, like the drawing of the metal, like Na sodium metallic bonding. So that's just basically Na plus and then C of electrons on the sides. Other than that, stoichiometry, they will ask questions, but sometimes it confuses you depending,
I have
they
a
will write.
question
Yes, please.
regarding metallic bonding. When we have
Yeah.
to write the sea of electrons, do we have to state how much electrons will there be? Like
No, no, you
two
don't have to
here
write that.
or
No,
one?
in the definition, you don't have to write that. You have to only write lattice of positive ions with a sea of delocalized electrons. You will get full marks for that. You don't have to write number of electrons and this thing. Yeah. Then in stoichiometry, formulas, and this one you have to be well through with your formulas, because of course stoichiometry you have to get full marks if for stoichiometry, because I mean it mostly comes easy only, but sometimes what happens is that mole per decimeter cube, let's say if it's a concentration mole per decimeter cube it comes, they ask you to convert to gram per decimeter cube. So it is simple, you just multiply with your Mr, and then if it's the vice versa you divide with your Mr. Those type questions come, and then basic volume and these type questions they'll ask, not that. Then relative masses of atoms and molecules, and this one they ask sometimes, they can ask this relative atomic mass, the definition, and this thing relative molecular mass definition. Then mole and Avogadro constant, basically the 6.02 into 10 to the power 23, this is the constant value, and then mass by molar mass, this all are the formulas. Other than that, mostly people find electrochemistry as your tough part. I don't know why, but then they find electrochemistry. Electrochemistry is a very easy topic if you understand the concept and all. So in electrolysis, what they can give you is that they basically give you like normal like molten sodium chloride or something. So that easily you can tell that which sodium will go to cathode, then the chlorine will go to the anode. That's basic. Then they'll ask you concentrated, they can ask you maybe. So for that also, that will be depending on your discharge series. And dilute, if they ask you dilute, in dilute, what you have to do without any, without any thinking or without any discharge series, you have to take hydrogen into the cathode side and the oxygen which is in your anode, basically a hydroxide. That formula which is given 4OH minus gives O2 plus 2 H2O plus 4. That one, that time for dilute you have to take hydrogen and oxygen, like hydrogen as your cathode and oxygen. Other than that, for your concentrated and this one, you have to use a discharge series. Molten, it's simple. You just take sodium into the cathode and that chlorine. So discharge series also important. Basically, the reactivity series that's important. And then they will ask you these and then electroplating they will ask they can ask question that why silver is used as electroplating, like uses and all. They can ask for electroplating. And then the simple like ionic half equations and all for cathode ionic half equation, for anode ionic half equation. Those are very basic type questions which they mostly ask. Then hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. So this topic there are chances to come in the Feb March paper, because hydrogen oxygen fuel cell in paper 3 variant and paper 2 also, I think there wasn't any hydrogen fuel cell type question this time. In my variant it was not there, but hydrogen oxygen fuel cell it can come. This topic is also important. That from the chemical energetics part. Then exothermic endothermic question, that drawing of the diagram. This one exothermic endothermic, this energy level and this one, these type of questions they will ask you in MCQ also sometimes, that with the they draw the diagram and then they ask you like which one is correct or which one is wrong. So this one you have to always remember is that reactants will be on the top, then for exothermic, and then the products on the bottom, and then you draw like a hump type, and then you bring it down, and then the arrow of the then you draw the arrow downwards and activation energy which goes on the top. And then for endothermic it will be the other way around, reactants at the bottom, products on the top, and then it goes as a hum, and then the this one will be from the top. It's always from reactants to the products. That's because in that exothermic one it's going to reactants to the products, so it's always start from the reactants and it'll go. It's not from the product side. So that's one important thing. And then and also you have to remember is that the hump and all this one you're drawing, it should be proper, because you would lose marks if you just draw some random type shape. You lose marks for that. Then physical and chemical changes, rate of reactions is a very basic type. They'll ask you rate of reaction, those two, this one, rate of forward reaction equal backward reaction, and concentration of reactants and products are same. These two type lines, these are very famous one for rate of reaction. And then other than that, they can ask you like if your temperature increases, what happens. Then these important things are very important, like your frequency of collision, successful collisions, collision frequency, successful collisions. These are like the important terms which will fetch you marks, because if you don't write kinetic energy, these all are the important type of key terms. If you don't mention these, then you don't get marks. Successful collision is also very important part here. And then changing of concentration, surface area, temperature. Mostly they will ask you from temperature, surface area. Also they ask catalyst. It's very rare type. Concentration also they ask the questions from this part. And then reversible reaction and equilibrium part, basically your rate of forward reaction equals to rate of backward reaction, and your concentration of reactant. This one basically in the Haber process also, if you have seen N2 plus 3H2 2NH3, this is your Haber process equation. So this one, this reversible reaction. So basically what happens is that your N2 plus 3H2 will form 2NH3. At the same time, this 2NH3 will form N2 plus 3H2. So it's like a continuous and always takes place in a closed system. So that's also a important thing. Plus here this is important. Here only they have mentioned that your temperature, pressure, and catalyst which you use for your Haber process, these ones are also important, same as well as for your contact process which you do for your what do you say, this SO2 plus O2. This one, this for this one also, contact process, you have to mention all your temperature and pressure. And yeah, they ask you conditions and all, you have to mention all the three. They asked three markers. Last time also they had asked three marker. It was temperature, pressure, and plus the catalyst which you use. That's important. Then redox reaction and all, oxidation number, loss of electrons, reduction, basically gain of electrons and all. decrease in oxidation number. Oxidation is also always loss of electrons. So basically, it is a increase in the oxygen, but decrease in the hydrogen. So that basic definitions for oxidation and the three basic definitions in reduction. Those are also important. Other than that, then they ask you like they'll give like a equation or something, and then they ask like which is taking oxidation and which is taking reduction. So you just write like this oxidation basically from this is going from 0 to +1, and then 0 to -1 reduction and oxidation. So like that they can ask you questions. Other than that, they will ask you from acid bases and salts. Acid bases and salts, basically they ask mostly the pH type questions, like suggest a pH value for this one, plus your acid base. This one, the important thing in acid base is what, during your ATP paper, what happens is that you get that cheat sheet type of thing in the back hand for your qualitative analysis of cations and anions. But in this one, what you have to do is that you have to remember that, because nowadays what they are very smart. So even though you get in back, it's not like you will skip that part. You have to memorize. Even during my time, I had memorized that part, because nowadays what they're asking 3 to 4 in different subtypes. They're asking questions like, if with this, what is the color change in this one. So if you lose 3 to 4 marks, then it's you'll get downgraded to a B or something. So those marks are also really important. So I mean that table which is given and the back of the ATP papers. So that's also that cheat sheet thing. That's also really important for a paper 4, because nowadays what is happening for our time also, they asked questions related
Um,
to quantitative analysis.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. Uh, if possible, can you just speed up till the 15th unit so we can, we'll take over then.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then the transition elements, noble gases, and all these basic rules and all you have to know, like high density, if it goes down, if it goes up, these basic fundamentals which is there in the book already. Metals, properties of metals, thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity, uses of metals like and then plus the alloys and all, brass, bronze, these are the important part. Then reactivity series and all, you have to know like with a reaction, let's say with potassium, with this one, what are the observation, and this one they ask questions related to that. Then corrosion and all, aluminum oxide layer and all this, they ask questions from that part. Extraction of elements and all, this one, the ion extraction and all, C plus, these all formulas are important. I mean, these equations are important. So they ask around 5 to 6 mark questions where you have to describe this full iron extraction with the equations you have to write and you have to discuss. This is there. And then chemistry of environment. They ask very less questions from environmental chemistry. Mostly they'll ask you in your MCQ type questions, the NPK fertilizers and all those basic type questions they will ask. But in structures you won't find that many questions in the recent papers also, but there are chances they can ask in the Feb March paper from chemistry of environment. Organic chemistry is their favorite. So of course, organic chemistry you'll find around 2 pages, last 2 pages for your organic chemistry only, and they'll ask basic type questions only, which is there covered in the syllabus, like formula and all, like general formula, and then your functional groups and all the definitions and this thing is there, and then the drawing like of the esters and all. They'll ask you naming of the ester, then the fuels, and then they'll ask you from the polymerization, like I told last time they had asked polymerization, these all nylon, PET. Most of the people they tend to leave this topic, but then last time what happened, most of the people they left this topic, and this topic was itself asked in the exam for variant 1. So this part is also really important. And then of course the experimental design, this is your separation techniques and all, this comes under your ATP paper, all your stopwatch, thermometer readings, and these basic type questions which you have to get in your ATP paper, full mark. Then this qualitative analysis thing which I was telling, paper 4, it's important. You have to learn this for paper 4, because if you don't learn this, then you are losing 4 to 5 marks confirm, because nowadays what happened in every paper they're giving you
So,
these
uh,
qualitative analysis type questions.
I think if you are, if some, for the people who are getting ATP, the qualitative analysis is given to you. Uh, uh, for paper four, it won't be given to you, and also for the those who are giving actual practicals for paper five, there also it won't be available, I guess.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
a
so that's what I'm telling for paper because most of the people they try to miss out on this part of not learning it, and then later on they realize that in paper four also they have asked questions, and then that white precipitate, yellow precipitate they tend to mess up, so they lose around 4 to 5 marks, which is a high
and I
thing because
want to add up a thing here. So it's not, really hard to learn the qualitative analysis table.
yeah,
Can do is what I used to follow is create your own acronyms, right? Not even acronyms. If you want, you can create something of your own, right? Pick out, letters out of it, make sentences. But I'm sure you guys must have seen, or previously used those kind of acronyms, which are very funny to say, but each word in the acronym means, something. So you can use
yeah.
like that, and
Mm,
that is what you can do. But yes, qualitative analysis, the thing is only given you for the variant, the sixth variant.
mm, mm. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. So, what I used to do during my time, I'll tell that simple thing to get A star for chemistry 0620 is that like what people tend to do take chemistry as a memorization type subject, so they try to memorize each and everything and then just just write put it down in the paper and then done. But then I guess you shouldn't take chemistry in that point of view, rather you have to take it in a practical type, like why it is happening and all. So that makes it even more fun, because if you try to learn, that makes it even boring. So what I used to do is that I didn't used to try to memorize stuff, but rather I used to try to take it in a practical. Of course, memorizing a few memorization stuff, of course you have to memorize, but then not like each and everything. You have to memorize. So what I used to do, just go through the book once, and then after that what I used to do is that take down notes for each. Notes is not like just copying each and everything from the chapter. Is notes is like the important topic, important part, which is mostly asked in the papers, that you write down. As well as you have to make a column key for most asked type topics, this is the thing, less asked topics is this. So try to tend to focus more on the more ash type rather than the less ash type. And you have to it's better. What I used to do is make use of three highlighter pen, basically red, yellow and green I used to do. So what I used to do is that red I used to do for the topic which I was not very less confident and I couldn't solve any questions. Then green for and yellow for topic which was pretty much clear, but then the questions I didn't used to solve. And then green, the one which I'm confirmed ki I can do any type of question, any sort of question, and the topic, concept, everything is clear. So what you have to do is that these red and yellow type you have to change it to a green. So for that what you have to do is that you refer to your book or the online notes which are pretty much available nowadays, Z notes and save my exam notes. They're pretty good. But it's better to make your own notes and study from that. That's how it helps to get better. Because see, if you start writing and then you try to do right, that's better than just reading a printout or digital type notes.
One more
And
point.
then other.
Sorry, really sorry to interrupt. Subject was uh, sometimes I used to get overwhelmed by the book. There were many pages that I started making save my exams as my primary source, which I think is totally wrong, because book also has books are designed in a way that the reason there are more pages in your book than save my exams is because your book is deliberately made in a way so that it can be self-read and understand the concept. You can understand the concepts when you read it. Because save my exams, remember, save my exams is again notes. They're not your primary source, right? They do not explain everything in detail. So instead of cramming things without understanding from CMA exams, I would recommend just, do not use do not make your book as your Bible. I would say just, try give a reading to all of the concepts from the books so that you get a better understanding of those concepts.
Yeah. And then other than that, I would suggest that watch YouTube videos. Like as Ritik had also told in the group many times, and I would also tell, I also used to use this YouTuber physics and chemistry with Zan. He has full complete playlist of 144 videos around. So and IGCSE study buddy few people use, but I would suggest use physics and chemistry with Zan. He has each and everything. Plus he teaches proper concept. Afterwards, past paper and also your fundamentals will be clear because in chemistry what happens is that if your 10th until 10th if your basics are clear then only your AS and A level will work or else your AS and A level is also gone because chemistry is that type because every year it starts getting tougher and tougher because of course AS and A level chemistry is way tougher than this, so this is like basics. If you get A star now, so at least you have a hope that
I
you can do better in AS and A level.
I to
um
that point because I have experience in all of the three boards in CBSE, A levels, and IBDP. So if you talk about all of the three boards, if you don't have the fundamentals of 10th grade clear, then you won't be able to especially IBDP, which is more rigorous than both CBSE and A levels, right? So IBDP, if you have to pursue IBDP ahead, having a fundamentals clear of 10th grade is really necessary. So what I would recommend is that and do not regret that I didn't study at the start. Even if you haven't done anything till now, just start. I think YouTube is your best source now. Or if because everyone cannot afford, or everyone does do not apply for tuition courses. However, yes, YouTube is a really good source. I totally agree to that point. And I have heard a good feedback about that channel that you were talking about with 144 videos. So
mm,
Chalo, everyone is giving some tips, so I'll also give. I feel left out. Anyway, see, Feb March aa raha hai, you don't have time to read textbook honestly. And why I got a A and not a A star is because every day I used to think that so much to learn, who will learn, like that. So my mindset was very bad. Le-
procrastinate.
Learning part will take you 2 days. Be honest with yourself. You
also,
start.
you guys know, Ritik has always had a bittersweet relationship with chemistry because sometimes I feel like, as a friend, I'm talking right now. Sometimes I feel like he is ranting about the subject and, yapping in my DMs about it. Where, whilst the other times he is, very deeply keen interested in the subject. But however, whether you like it or not, please study it, right? That's the thing because I remember chemistry was something that everybody used to because I had combined sciences, right? I had all of the three sciences in one subject. I had 0653 combined sciences. So I had biology, physics, and chemistry, everything, right? And I used to see that my class to hate chemistry. And we all got the lowest score in chemistry in our mocks and in our boards, hence. And that's why I would say that do not, underrate the subject or not, overestimate the possibilities of you not getting a good grade in it.
So basically, funda वही है. Sorry, we could not clear most of the doubts, but we'll give you the fundamental. 2 days to learn the everything from scratch. 2 days to learn. 3 to 4 days to get all the doubts cleared. Whatever basic doubts you have for drawing, ATP theory, whatever you want, posted on CambiHub. We will follow up within few hours. 4 days for that. So 6 days हो गया. You still have 15 more days till boards. You can at least refer to 10 proper papers within time limit as per exam conditions in your house itself. So what I would say is 2 days learn everything up. Even if you know everything, just do it again. 2 days for that, 3 days for uh, not knowing whatever topic you don't know, and 10 days for just sitting and doing the MCQ theory and practical paper together in one day. So you handle the pressure of being in boards itself. Solve MCQ in 35 minutes, solve theory in I think 60 minutes you should solve, and in ATP also 30 to 35 minutes.
Al-
Correct brutally. Be brutally honest with yourself. That is the mistake I did with my when I was doing IGCSE.
Also, one more thing, a lot of people, this is a doubt that somebody asks in every 2 days. Please do not refer to guest papers. Somebody was also asking for Papa Cambridge guest papers. Trust me, from my experience,
Sir,
guest papers are
man,
just
don't buy those. I will make a guest paper for you guys and you'll fail. I'm telling you. People get guest papers are basically past papers combined together.
Yeah,
We will take it for you for free, yaar. Give us support.
like
So it doesn't matter.
instead, you can do past papers. Do not waste your time on guest papers. Nothing's going to come out of that particular guest paper. I have seen Papa Cambridge writing a lot of exaggerating and writing, flattering about their experts and their guidance, but nothing comes out of that paper. Nobody can really, not even a single, even the teacher cannot predict what is coming in the paper.
Take names of the live stream, eh? We might
No,
get.
there's also
Yeah, yeah, come on. Yeah, go on, Jeet.
yeah, there's also one.
No, no, Ritik, that won't matter. I can speak because at starting we put a disclaimer. For
That's
industry, the laws do not allow you to comment on any particular thing you want.
great, great, great. Yes, Jeet, please.
I was asking Pranay, as you took the combined science, which notes did you prefer, or I have less time to cover the syllabus, so which note should I prefer, or do you have any note for it?
Yeah, so I would say, see, first of all, I was referring to Save My Exams as I told but then I found out that Save My Exams is something which has coordinated sciences, right? It doesn't have 0653 as a subject, right? Specifically, it doesn't have those notes. And those notes they had a lot of extra content because obviously combined sciences has, it's all of the three sciences in one subject, so they have to cut down something from each of the subject, right? From each of the branch of of science, and that's what they've done. Whereas in in Save My Exams, there's a lot of extra content. So what I did was I totally used the book, right? I sat with pen and paper and I made my own notes. However, if you don't want to do that, I also refer to this and awesome website called IGCSE Aid, right? So if you go to IGCSE aids, they have the notes for 0654, right? Whereas combined science is 0653. But there is just no difference between both of these subjects, right? 0654 allows you to do two subjects, right? Maybe physics, biology, or biology, chemistry. However, the syllabus for 0654 and 0653 is the same. So if you want to refer to notes, Jeet, please go to IGCSE 8 0654 and just keep the syllabus document with you while you refer to those. And
But I
well,
have took course, so
um, yeah, it would still work because they're very crisp. So that's why I'm saying just syllabus document with you, right? Just keep the course section of the syllabus document with you side by side, so that you can just because the topics are in order, right? The topics are in order. So last ki few topics will be something which you don't have to do, right? So just keep the syllabus document with you and refer to those notes. Hope that helps.
thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else who has any doubts? Anyone has any doubts? You can. Okay, let's just check the chat box. Okay, there's no doubt. I'm
Also,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
also one more thing. After this session in the group itself, in the chemistry IGCSE group, I'll tend to share a few notes and these things which I used to use for IGCSE, and pretty much they held. Of course, I don't know about the result, but hopefully it will become an A star only for chemistry. But then I used to use these notes and all which I got, and then plus I used to make my own notes. So I'll share up them in the group also. I mean, they would have pretty much good help.
Also, if I have to talk about the papers, I would say theory is something the easiest thing, right? It is the easiest thing out there. So what I see is, theory gives you that freedom that, you can write your own, you can write something with your own thoughts, somewhere. It gives you that freedom. And people tend to be good in theory because if you have learned the concept, it is comparatively easier to explain it on a paper with a pen, right? However, some people, even when they are good with theory, they keep on practicing theory because that gives them joy that we know chemistry. However, let me tell you that ATP and MCQ have the highest percentage, have the highest weightage, right? Not percentage, my bad. So, know that our marks are multiplied with weighting factors. And if you see the weighting factors, for theory, it is 1 point something. But for MCQ and for ATP, it is directly multiplied by 1, which means MCQ and ATP have the highest weightage, which means I did this mistake. I did not focus on properly. MCQ was one of the things that I used to struggle with. whether it is economics or whether it is combined sciences. And in both the subjects, I miserably did, I did bad in MCQ, right? And MCQ was the one that brought my grades down. So please focus on MCQ. Okay, one more thing that just strikes, Ishant or Ritik, any one of you can just present the screen and just talk and just open a sample paper and maybe give time management tips on how to, uh,
Yeah, I'll share. I have a paper already open.
See,
okay.
time management basically what I told you guys, 1 minute per question, maximum 30-35 minutes with OMR sheet for MCQ. Theory, 1 minute per mark, that should be your goal. And ATP, start with six. How many? Last 5 years is the perfect way to go. If you have more time, open exam mate and do topical questions which you are weak at. But 5 years is the perfect key.
No, if you are done with last 5 years paper, then it's a confirmed thing that you're getting A star in chemistry because 5 years. Because the thing is that Cambridge is very they don't tend to change the questions. They keep the question same. It's just here and there something difference because the question is like in the question bank type. So they just try to pick up that question and change here and there, and then they just give out the same. So if
Yeah.
you're done at least with 5 years of paper, then of course it's simple to get a star in chemistry. I mean, few
And
people like tend to think
whatever,
A star is impossible in chemistry. I mean,
yeah. And whatever paper you are doing, whether it's from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2024, whatever paper it is, use the latest grade thresholds to apply to put a grade to yourself. So when you're grading yourself, do not refer to the old thresholds because there's a lot of uncertainty in them. You find that 2020 to 2022 papers have comparatively a lower threshold than 2023, 2024, and 2018 and thresholds. So either choose, I'll tell you the years. Either choose a threshold from a 2019 paper or choose a threshold from 2024 paper, right?
yeah.
Do not use thresholds from 2020 or probably 2021
Hmm.
because COVID pressures, the thresholds were really low. And, the Cambridge has said that this time the thresholds are going to be, they'll skyrocket.
Yeah.
Is there any other doubt? Any specific doubt anybody has regarding the papers? Or we can, come to the time management tips. Yes, Lara,
Yes,
you.
I have a question. Basically, when I was doing my mock, I lost almost all my marks because I missed a few words or I like forgot something in my sentence, even though the definition or something is correct. How do we prevent such thing to happen in the final exam?
Okay. So I think you are lacking keywords in your answer. And I would say whenever IGCSE or Cambridge or O levels or GCSE, AQA, OCR, Pearson, Excel, whatever it is, all of these boards, that are run by Cambridge have this thing that you need to put keywords, right? Your answers, number one, your answer needs to be to the point, and number two, you have to use keywords, right? And these are the two golden rules. These are the two guru mantras. Because if I talk about, I'll tell you the reason also why this is happening. Getting from either Save My Exams or some notes or your book, right? All of these sources do not or will never have those keywords. Now, the question is, where do I find those keywords? Marking scheme. The more papers you practice, the more keywords you'll get from the marking scheme itself. So the point is, do not pick up words from your book, right? Book is just to understand the concept, just to get a gist of it, right? Even if you're referring to Save My Exams, it's really good for diagrams or like memorization or tables. However, keywords is something that you only have to learn from the marking scheme, nowhere else. So the only way to fix this issue is practice more and more papers because this is somewhere showing that you are lacking practice. So practice a lot, right? Practice the papers a lot and focus on the keywords there, right? Book
Yes.
will always either book will have easy terms or it will have difficult terms. Okay,
Yeah.
some solve all the or just the see you should solve all the way. Reason being, uh, like let's say papers from 2021 to 2024, I would say practice all the variants of them because even if the variant is different, the syllabus is same, the paper is same, right? And the students who are appearing for the paper, they have the same amount of knowledge. They are using the same textbook for learning, right? So Everything is same. It's just that they have created duplicates of a paper, right? Not exact duplicates, but yes, they have changed the question and created a paper of the same level. Or sometimes it can be easier or higher, right? So you should practice all the variants, right? All of the variants really.
All
Plus, do not if you are practicing papers really old, like 2014 or 2015, at that time, variant 21 and variant 1 and variant 3, time zone 1 and 3 were mostly, they used to be same. The questions were exactly copy pasted. If you're very, very old papers, I think before 2018, then do not, you can skip practicing all the variants. However, if you're doing one of the latest papers, then obviously it's worth to practice all of the variants.
Yeah, plus the common mistake what people do is, according to examiner report also, the examiner mostly write this common mistake in the definition, which someone was asking about the like missing of keyword, is of that rate of reaction type. What they tend to write is they write the forward reaction equals the backward reaction. Now, I mean, you'll only get 1 mark for that if it's a two marker, because that word rate, if you don't write, then you only get 1 mark for that. So the examiner mentioned that clearly if you don't write the keywords, you lose a mark. I mean, especially for this one, most of the students they tend to forget the word rate, and then they lose out 1 mark for that out of two. So they only get one because of the forward equals to backward. So that rate itself carries 1 mark in that definition. Pranay?
Do we have any more doubts or should we end the
Okay,
session?
go.
Uh,
uh,
you can continue with the time management thing or
Yeah,
whatever you
time management, this thing.
right. You can do that.
Yeah. So basically, for the time management thing, I would say that uh, you should tend to, like let's say these 4 mark, this question, which is basically a simple question. So you just, just write these 1, 2, 3, 4 accordingly, the processes and all. 1 mark. So basically, you have to write according to the marker and accordingly you manage the time. Now, let's say if it is a 1 mark question, don't need to spend a lot of time just for this one marker. Just write a one line and you'll get 1 mark. What people tend to do, they write to like a thesis type just for this two marker. It will come until here end page, and whenever they scan, they won't scan this full thing. This because this side thing will cut off. So what happened? They try to write so many lines just for two markers. So I think you have to write according to the marks which is asked. Let's say if it's asked 1 mark, just write one line. Don't need to give like a thesis or something like two marker. If it's two marker, write 2 points, and accordingly maintain the time also. Like 3 markers, give a bit more time. 2 marker, give lesser time, and of course 1 mark don't need to give that much of
Yeah,
time.
one more thing regarding the page borders. So it's okay if you exceed the lines, right? This is something none of the teachers will tell you. It's okay if you are exceeding the lines. However, when you're attempting your board's paper, there is going to be when you click a selfie, right, or when you click a photo in your phone, right? There are these corner borders, right? That there's a border on the left and there's a border on the right. So just make sure you don't cross that border. If you're writing it inside that border, then nobody really
Yeah,
cares.
that gets cut off in the paper, so
Yeah,
they won't check it out. They won't check that.
so if it is inside the border, then you do not need to worry about the space. However,
Yeah.
not this is just a suggestion. In case you did something wrong or your answer is wrong, you have to cut something or write again. Just make sure that it is inside the lines. This is just for emergency. Your paper should not look like a rough note, right? Do not take my suggestion very seriously.
Yeah. And then for these type of questions, like calculate the volume of oxygen measured at RTP, these stoichiometry type of question. Now there's a 3 marker question. What is that 1 mark will carry for your this one, the formula which you write, because formulas is also important. If you don't write formulas, you will lose a mark in this stoichiometry. So formula carries mark, plus your steps which you write, and then your final answer also, that will give you 3 marks. If you miss out on one, so you'll only get, let's say you miss out on the formula, you just write the steps and write the answer, you'll get 2 marks only. For getting 3 marks, write the formula, steps, and then the answer. Then only you'll get 3 marks for calculation type. Other than that, there was this yeah, this one, the complete dot and cross diagram. Few people, they tend to miss out on this dot here, and then they just try to draw this, they miss out on this. Now this is a 3 marker, they lose 1 mark here itself. If you don't write the charges here, like -1, +2, if you don't write here, then you lose 1 mark. Few people, what they do, they tend to miss out drawing this outer shell of the Mg, the 8 electron. So if you miss out on that, you lose a mark. For getting 3 marks, write the charges here, this shell, and then the outer shell of this chlorine. Other than that, yeah, other than that, when they ask you to write symbol equation, just write a symbol equation. Now let's say they have asked write what do you say, the states also. And if let's say it's a 2 marker question that asks you to write states and all, if you don't write states, like let's say it's aqueous, liquid, or solid, then you lose a mark over there. Then define the term acid and define the term strong acid. This is a very common mistake which most of the people, I mean, good that they are given in this paper. Define the term acid, define the term strong acid. Now what people did, there's a slight difference in strong acid. What happens is that I mean, of course you release H plus ions in both of the things, but the thing is that of complete ionization and partial ionization, if you don't write that key term complete ionization for strong acid, then you lose this 1 mark itself, because of course you don't get half mark, but then of course you lose that complete ionization by releasing H plus ion in a aqueous solution. If you write, then only you'll get 1 mark for this strong acid. And acid, of course, the normal definition which you have. Then suggest to observation, you'll write the two observation. Define the term saturated solution with full complete keywords. You have to mention this thing. Then yeah, of course, this one also, again, the mole. Now this is a 4 marker. So 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. So you just write the this one, the steps and all, and then you just write the answer, and then you'll get your 4 marker for this. Then rate of reaction, deduce the time reaction. Sometimes what happens is that they ask you to draw thin fine line, like let's say if it's asking like the surface area is increased or something like that. Now when you draw the line, few people, they try to mess up the line, like they just draw a line and then it just matches here. Draw proper line, and then it should connect with this horizontal line at the end. So the line should be clearly visible to the examiner. That's one thing. Then activation energy, rate of reaction increases when the temperature increases in terms of activation energy and collision between the particle. Now here they have clearly mentioned in terms of. Now if you just write, if you don't mention these points related to activation and collision between particles, so you'll only get 1 mark. Let's say if you write a definition, so you have to mention this activation and collision between the particles to get complete 3 marks in terms with your temperature. Then your these characteristics of homologous series, which is already there in the book. And then yeah, of course, this, yeah, test and all, this test and all for unsaturation, the bromine water test, this one, changing decolorization, changing colorless, these all test results. Okay, now here they have asked easily unsaturation, and many times in papers also they ask a test of such. Now let's say it was a ATP type question, in the sense they had given something else and they had a written test and result. So that will approximately come for 2 marks. And if you have not learned that table, then you will of course lose 2 marks there. Draw the displayed formula butene. It should be clear. The double bond and each and everything should be clear when you are drawing the butene. And then of course your positional isomer butene is clearly written, not but1ene. That's also
We
one
have
thing.
to draw the displayed formula with pen or a pencil.
Pencil. If you draw with a pen, you're not getting marks. That's confirmed. Because yeah, of course, with a pencil only you'll get marks. Even in ATP paper for drawing anything or drawing this also, it's better to draw with a pencil. But then if you write with a pen here, displayed formula you'll get. But then let's say it's a drawing type, and if you draw with a pen and then you just come, and then of course you won't get marks for that. So dot and cross diagram, simply you draw with the pencil and all. And then these are the addition reaction. State one other condition that must be, so clearly they have mentioned. Now if you don't see this line catalyst which is used in a stage, and then you just write catalyst here, then you'll of course lose, because catalyst is already mentioned here, and if you write catalyst, of course you won't get marks for that. Then name of the ester and all. Now it's clearly mentioned propanoic acid and methanol. Now, of course, really methyl propanoid, because of course what it happens is that whenever you are what do you say, writing, like whenever you're drawing, it will be propanoic acid is a carboxylic acid plus your alcohol. But then while you're writing the ester name, it's the other way around. So basically, you write your alcohol plus your propane and the O8, that ending suffix. So that's thing. Name another ester is there. These one marker type questions, it's simple to get easily marks. And of course your periodic table which they give you, and then it's better to few people what they done, they try to be over smart and they think that they already know the molecular mass of, let's say if aluminium, they didn't tend to write 28, and then but the thing is 27. So better to refer to the periodic table once again, and then accordingly do the mass number and these type of questions. I'll just go through the paper two ones fast. 1 minute. Paper two. Yeah, this one only, right? Yeah, in the paper two MCQ, basically, it is very important to read the question. Now, let's say they have written gaseous substances slowly cooled and temperature recorded. At which point is the solid? Okay, this is basic. Now, what here? Okay, simply now they have written which gas changes the color of the damp. Now, relative molecular mass here they have mentioned. Sometime what happened that they just write the formula. You have to calculate the molecular mass. Now you have to always remember what they do is lower molecular mass, highest the diffusion. What we will try to do is high, sometimes by mistake higher molecular mass they will write for lesser more diffusion basically. And then reading the question is the most important thing for this one. Sometimes what happen is that Cambridge is very smart in chemistry and economics type paper or physics also. What happens is that they try to give options. Now what you find is that two of the options they will tend to be similar, but then of course the answer will be one of them. So you have to find out that thin line difference between those two options, and according, because depending on the question they have asked, those two type of them will be sounding similar to you, that this will be the answer, that will be the answer, but then either way you have to choose one answer for that thing. Then here in this one you shouldn't mess up, because see here they have written aqueous, aqueous, solid, aqueous. So the state symbols is the only game here. So if aqueous, aqueous, solid, aqueous, and plus your balancing, and this one should also be done. Then other than that, these are your simple calculation type questions which you have to do. Copper ions. Yeah, then here basically your endothermic. Clearly you have to read endothermic. People will read exothermic and then they'll do a wrong one. Endothermic is simply where it is from your bottom. Now, of course, this one and this one will cancel off. It will be either A or B. So reactance and then overall activation, this one change. But here, what the catch is that activation energy will be this one. So the answer will be A. Because of course it is gonna go from it's always from a reactance towards that hump, not from this reactant to the product. This is not activation energy. This is your energy change. So it's the you have to do it properly, like read the question in the sense endothermic is written, so think of endothermic only, not of exothermic. Then decrease rate of reaction, these questions, yeah, and then the oxidation number and all. Now Cl2, don't think that okay, Cl2 is itself it is not combined with anything, Cl2, so of course it will have a zero oxidation number, neither a minus one. So if it was with H or something, then it would have been, you know then it would have a charge, but then itself Cl2 will have a zero. So this is one important thing. Lowest pH and all you will calculate. Then noble gases. This is property of metal. Bauxite. Yeah, then this one, photosynthesis and respiration. You have to keep this also in mind that CO2 plus H2O will be given. But if it respiration is the other way around, C6H12 plus like that. Then structural isomer definition. These all are petroleum is yeah. Then this one you have to be by heart with this one. What do you say? There's a table in the chemistry textbook of in this part where they have given a difference with fermentation, how what are the advantage disadvantage, and with catalytic addition. So if you are through with the advantage disadvantage, like which is bad process, which is continuous process, which is fast, which is slow reaction, then you can easily do this type of reaction. Monomer also, you have to take note of how how this is drawn. Accordingly you have to draw the monomer in the same manner. So this is there. And then while you're doing this process type, it's better to just put a tick or just write like this is the first one, this is the second one, so that you don't mess up while choosing of the options. And this is your basically function of locating agent basically to form colored spots. This is for paper 2. And paper 6, the basic thing is, you know paper 6, yeah, for these X and Y, the labeled apparatus and all, you should be good with your apparatuses and all. So if you are good with your apparatus, you can easily get this X and Y, I mean these 2 marks easily. Then test and result, this is already given in your that cheat sheet. Then total volume in experiment 1, properly you have to calculate, and then do this, use your answer, sketch the curve. This one, Jeet was asking anything. Yeah, so here if you draw with a pen, if you sketch the curve with a pen, you won't get marks for this. So this one you have to draw with pencil. Then these simple, this burette and this one is just telling initial and final reading. Like here too they have given easily with point one, and this one, let's say it was here, this one it would have, let's say it was in 29 here. So you have to write here 29.0 and not 29. Then only you'll get marks for that. And then with solution, this one you can do, give your reasons, suggest how the reliability of results. Then test on solid C, refer to this cheat sheet which is there behind, and then do flame test. Then this one, the labor, this investigation question, which is just 6 marker. You can draw a diagram to do like help your question, and then you should describe. You have to read the question properly. What sometimes people do is that they write their own and write it in stepwise, like this is the requirement, this is
Uh,
the method, what is the conclusion. If you don't mention, like in physics also, they have written bullet points in physics paper, but in this paper what happens is that they have not written in bullet points. You have to mention in proper chronological, like everything you have to mention, then only you would get around 5 marks, because six is, I think, impossible. You can't get easily 6 marks for complete until and unless you have written each and everything correct, and the examiners.
Hi, everyone. Just letting you know that this meeting will end in 2 minutes because we also have other sessions, right? Or other things lined up. So I think Ishant, you can conclude now, right? Uh, we can't hear you.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah. So basically, I would say that for paper two, tend to get above 35. And then for paper for paper what do you say, paper 4, tend to get uh, 72 plus. And then of course paper 6 also tend to get around 34 to 35, so you can easily get an A star, because nowadays chemistry, of course chemistry thresholds are always the higher one than physics. So you have to like read the question and all, you have to be good with chemistry even not to lose a single mark. So that's one important thing. And then yeah, if you're done, if you revise through everything I've done with past papers, and if you do all your notes and all you revise through, it's not a rocket science. IGCSE chemistry and all is not a rocket science to get A star. So if your basics and all are clear, then of course it will impact your AS and A level also, and then of course you'll get better marks there also. So IGCSE is like basically your building blocks for your next grades if you choose chemistry later on also. So I mean, it's not a tough thing. Most of the people get also A star. Many of them get A stars in this one. So
So
yeah.
thank you for joining. We hope that this session was really interesting for you guys, right? And you and if this we I think this was helpful. All the best for your exam, right? Thank everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you.